Fantastic. Here we go. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. So we're meeting with regard to the Heart, Mind, Body Collective Conference. So I'm
hmm
really excited to have you on board. So I guess if we just start with a little bit about you and how you got into this work.
How I got into this work. Well, past life regression is what I'm presenting at your conference. It's not the only thing I do, but
Mhm.
so when you say this work, I might presume that you're meaning that, or maybe spiritual things in general. So I'll speak to that.
Speak to everything in general.
Everything in general. Okay, how did I get into this work? Well, I maybe I can thank my mum, who's been an esoteric student since I was a young girl. So I've been surrounded by metaphysical concepts from very young. So that's
Mm,
sort of normal to me, I guess.
mm,
In my teens, I found some passion for natural health, and that was the path I was going on. I was studying to be a naturopath in my late teens, and
oh,
then,
wow.
yeah, I was lured by glamour and became a flight attendant for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I paused my naturopathic studies and went and had this pseudo glamorous life. It's like it's this much glamorous. There is a little bit. It's not all that. So I paused my studies, and while I was flying, I was still picking up. I started picking up my studies again. So I went back to my naturopathic
Mm,
studies. I thought I'd be flying for a year or two, but it was a pretty cool career. So I hung in there with that for about 10 years and picked up studies throughout that. So it was, I think, when my brother Jamie died when I was
mm,
23, that was kind of pivotal. I was a flight attendant then, but
mm.
that was kind of pivotal because um, I was connecting with Jamie. And so mum had been doing automatic writing for quite a while, so that I
Oh,
was
wow.
familiar with that, but I didn't
Yes.
start doing that kind of work myself until Jamie came to me really clearly after he
Yes.
died. So I started writing and channeling, and that led to connection with guides, etc. And my
Mm,
natural studies, what was it, aromatherapy, herbalism, massage, all sorts of things started to get a little bit more esoteric when my
mm.
massage teacher, who was working on me, did some energy healing on me, which is something I hadn't experienced before, and it was
Yes.
mind blowing. And he said, "Well, you're already channeling spirit. You can do this easily."
Hmm.
And he taught me spiritual healing. So I would say that spiritual healing was the foundation that had me completely hooked that I've got to do this. I've got to move away from this career and do more of this. So I started
Yes.
doing more spiritual studies and grabbing more of
Mm,
mum's books and starting to learn more about that. And past life regression was one thing that was on the radar then.
mm.
And towards the end of my flying career, I went and did a past life regression. I've been reading about them. I found that I was living in Perth at the time. I found a
Mm.
therapist that was doing it, which blew my little mind because I thought it was some crazy overseas thing that I'd never get to do. So I raced off and had my first past life regression and experienced three different lives.
Wow.
One was an ET life, so that was particularly interesting. So they were all interesting, but the
Yes.
standout from those, away from the therapeutic aspects of it, because it is a therapeutic modality that I use.
Yes.
Um, the standout was this feeling of being out of body. So I moved from believing in life after death to
Mm.
knowing it. It was a full somatic experience
Yes.
for me. So I was very excited when the teacher of her modality was coming out from the States to teach in Perth, and I quickly signed up. And fortunately, unfortunately, who knows how these things work? Neville Rowe died 2 weeks before he arrived to do that training. So fascinating
Wow.
because we're in this field, right? So my regressionist taught herself how to teach and started passing on his technique. So I was in her first training. Uh,
Wow.
and I have contact with Neville as well.
Mm,
So past life regression became another modality that I was practicing on the side part-time
mm,
with spiritual healing. So channeled healing was my roots, and I do past life regression sessions. And
mm.
when I went over to Rome to pick up a flying contract over there, that was the end of my flying career, really. So I had this experience over there that was very intense, and the pull to do my own work was strong. So I quit.
Yes.
I quit and became a spiritual healer full time, is what I was doing in Perth. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah, and that quickly moved into teaching as well. So
Yeah.
I guess that whole spiritual field, past life regression, was something that stayed with me throughout these years. That was like over 30 years ago I've been doing this.
Mm.
And past life regression has stuck the whole way because this particular modality is so transformational and profound. I did go on to do some training with Dolores Cannon at some point.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and Dolores is incredible. That was only a few years before she
Yes.
passed that I got to do that. But really, this particular technique of Neville Rhodes that I have adapted along the way, and I've been teaching
Mm.
for over 20 years now, is so incredible that in fact, it's the only modality I have that has sort of stayed pretty much the same because I tend to work with
Okay.
spirit and work quite instinctually with my counseling work and my
Yes.
inner child work and tarot
Mm.
therapy and all the other things that I do. But this technique is so cool, which is why I'm still doing it
Mm.
and still teaching it. So
That's
I
amazing.
think I've answered your question.
I think you've most definitely answered the question. And it's wonderful how everything ties in together, the inner child work and the past life regression and the counseling and the energy work as well. So,
Well, yeah, so I'm a big fan, Rebecca, of for those students that I have and the mentoring that I do, I like us to be able to um, be to not be so modality based and more responsive in present time to what's happening with our client and know that we've got all these tools in the background that will come forward when we've got enough experience to just allow that to be present. So I do past life regressions in and of themselves. People will come for
yes,
that. But the majority of my work is, I call it a healing session. I don't know, it could be called many things, but it's about
yes,
being responsive in current time to what is being presented, whether that's a physical issue or some psychological uncertainty or um, emotional stuff or even spiritual issues. I work with entities and spirit attachments as well. So
yes, yes. It's
I
powerful
think we
work.
need to be able to work on all of these levels or to
Mm.
have really good people we can refer our clients to anyway. But when somebody has got something going on, there's a root to it.
Yes,
So where did it
so
start?
true.
And if we've got enough tools, we can get our client into an altered state and we can go back to last week or last year or childhood. Often we have to do that, obviously. Well,
Yes,
that's obvious
yes,
to me because we all have trauma from our childhood. We all do. Varying
yes,
degrees of trauma, different sorts of trauma on different holistic levels. So we're often back there, the womb and past life. We need to go back to the roots of these. And so what's happening in current time is clients are spontaneously getting glimpses and having experiences of lives, and
hmm
therapists don't know what to do with that. There's so much that we can do with that when we understand, because we're at a time where we're wanting to clear karma and actually get to the roots of what's going on because of this heightened consciousness that we're living in and some of these major planetary energies that are coming through at this
yes,
time. We're wanting to clear stuff. So with the way I do this work, that's what often happens.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. It covers it on so many levels and layers, and it's quite powerful.
Well, that's
And
right,
it's
because we've got to
very
weave in
powerful
the
work.
yeah, all of these levels are so important because we can't just, well, as you know, I mean, you're on the same page as me, but we can't just
Mm,
fix the physical problem. And I don't
no.
believe just dealing with the emotional problem either. We've got to capture all of these. And if we're working in the spiritual field of the body and
Yes.
the mental patterning, we're going to be
Yes.
affecting the emotions in the physical body in the end anyway. Although we can weave them all in because they're all part of each other. So yeah, it's important. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And sometimes the focus shifts. I mean, sometimes that your client is feeling like it's my physical body today. I'm feeling it in my body. Other times they're feeling it in their heart. Other times it is they're like, oh God, my mind is so crazy and I don't know why I keep, thinking this or, those
Exactly.
sorts
And
of
you know,
things
we
come
we
up.
can
And you've got
go
to be
into
able to meet your client where they're at.
exactly.
I,
And
I, I, I
we can
totally agree
actually
with you there.
track in through any of
Mm.
those places. We can go in
Yeah.
through the sore knee. We can go in
Yes.
through all of this anger that's sitting here or the mental
Yes.
stuff, and it will get us to a root, whether that was yesterday, last week, or back in time, or another lifetime, or yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, that sounds wonderful. So, and you've also got your own business in New Zealand, and you've called that the Light School. Is that
Light
correct?
School, yeah, there's no V.
Yes,
So lightschool .nz. So Light
Light
School's
School.
my
Yep.
business, and I teach all sorts of cool stuff, all this cool stuff. So I do teach inner child work, past life regression foundations, as well as past life practitioner advanced training, spirit releasement therapy, um,
Wow.
tarot, and I still have a little private practice. I don't see as many clients as I used to, but I tend to work more with the therapists. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, heal the healers.
yeah. And I
I
write
think a
quite a
lot,
bit
a
as
lot of
well.
them are. Oh, that's right. You've got a book as well, haven't you?
I
You've
do,
got a
yeah, yeah,
book.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
correct? What was the name of your book
My book
for
is called
everybody?
Truth, Spirit, Love. It's the essential guide to healing is the subtitle because it is. It is an
Mm-hmm.
essential guide to healing. And I wrote that to move away from client work more because there's so much we can do ourselves when we understand all of these different levels. So it's sort of a
Yeah.
self-healer's book. It's a like, don't rely on the therapist, come and do some of this work
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
And of course, we need therapists when we get some things are a bit sticky, but there is so much we can be doing ourselves. So yeah, that's why I wrote
Yes.
the book. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of write and speak a bit more and still teaching,
Mm.
still a few clients, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds really good. I think it's really important to help people, give people tools that they can apply themselves. So I feel that's a really important part of the work, rather than having them always come back to you. I often feel that, as therapists, we help people with their blind spots.
Yeah,
We can
totally.
hold that space for them and yet to give them those tools is so invaluable, to our clients, because that essentially is what empowers them,
Well, that's what I was
and
going to say. You've got it. You're so on my page, Rebecca. I love that because otherwise it's like Rebecca knows everything and I don't know it. It's like that
yes,
that's
that's
not where
right.
I'm wanting to
It's
take
not.
people.
No,
So
no.
my
Often our
passion is,
clients know, but they're
yeah,
stuck. So it's helping them build that bridge to connect to that part of them that it feels stuck, and to help them feel unstuck, let it go.
yeah, totally. I don't want to be relied on because that disempowers
No.
you. So my work
Yes.
is very much about, um, I guide people to check in with themselves. So when you're in an altered state, if you're checking in
Mm.
with your higher self and asking yourself questions, it's although clients would love to rely on us because that's easy.
Yes.
So I do make it a little bit
Yes.
hard and I do push my students and clients a bit to go deeper and focus and concentrate.
Mm,
You can
mm.
get this yourself. And it's
Yes.
um it's very exciting because once they realize that, with some holding and some mentoring, they can do so much by themselves once that trust is enabled, I guess, once they realize.
Yes.
Mm,
Once they realize that, which is really
mm,
it's very powerful, and I feel that's really empowering for people.
mm.
So it's a very important part of the work, I really believe. So I'm so looking forward and to you coming to this conference and speaking. I guess one of the questions I've got is, what drew you to being a part of this conference, and what would you like people to get out of, your talk in
Yeah,
particular?
yeah, yeah, that's a good question. So what drew me to the conference? Um, we get drawn on so many levels, right? So many things are
We
happening
do.
multi-layered, right? So and my initial response to that is intuition. I
Yes.
just knew I needed to be there. And if it had have been logical, well, I do live in New Zealand, so it's not super
Mm,
practical. It's not super
no.
practical at all. But intuition is getting so much louder. I mean, obviously, I've always been intuitive, and we all are. But I think it's becoming more prominent, and the head's not dominating so
Yes.
much for so many of us, the light workers in particular. So I just had to be there. So that was
Mm,
thing one. Moving on from that, it's I want to affect as many people as possible around um, waking up a little to the fact that there is more than what they can see.
yes.
Because when that happens, so this is about raising consciousness, and past life regression
Hmm.
as a modality obviously leads itself to that in and of
Mm,
itself. So there's a few reasons. There's heightening consciousness because when we've got that, we can shine our light a whole lot more, and that's what changes the planet, right? So
yes.
I'm all about lifting us to a place where we can see more clearly and
Mm,
and that's something that I'm quite skilled at doing. So I want to be in an environment, especially Sydney, which is
mm,
these big cities. It's a big city, Sydney, and there's a lot of fears. I mean, there's a lot of fear
yes.
collectively anyway, but it's more concentrated when you're in a denser hub. So
Mm,
if we can level up the consciousness and I can spark some people to remember some truths, they're going to lift out of fear, and that's going to help them enormously.
yes.
So I think that's a primary driver, and there's something about fear of dying in here as well, which is one of the awesome benefits of doing past life regression work. Away from its therapeutic value, that
Mm,
tends to be something that is a byproduct of it. And I'm a passionate believer in that when we understand there's nothing to fear about death, it changes how we live. And it
yes.
changes, again, it changes our fear. And we're needing to come out of fear and into love. So, have I moved away from answering your question? I guess I'm on a mission, it sounds like.
No.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm on a
Yeah, no,
mission.
that's
Yeah.
that's a very powerful mission. I really, really love that. I did find in my own work that fear of death with people is significant, and and people needing that reassurance, for example, that the people that they love are safe, they're okay, and often finding that the person that's left behind feels it's its own kind of trauma because they've seen their loved one in pain
Mm.
quite often, or a sudden death, and they're trying to understand it. But through those conversations, you can really, and they share with you that fear. So I really feel that work is so important because, as I mean, we know we've both had those experiences that there is life after this human,
Yeah, well,
form
it's particularly pertinent to me. Look,
goes.
you're absolutely right, Rebecca. This is yeah, it makes me just want to turn this into a global phenomena, really. We've these things we're
Mm.
talking about are so crucial, and it's really topical for me because my beloved soulmate of 25 years got the big
Oh,
kind of sick
listen.
recently.
Yes.
Yeah, Perry was diagnosed with a lung disease a few years ago, suddenly, and
Mm,
he died just over a year ago. So,
mm,
I'm kind of still in a raw grief kind of place myself, actually. Yet, weaving this into what we're talking about, I have contact with him, obviously. I
yes.
say
Yes.
obviously, I mean obviously because of what I've been sharing earlier. But Perry and I were twin flames, really. So it was
Mm,
even easier to, we could do telepathy when we were here together. So
mm,
our bonds allowed that to be really strong. So I've got a lot of
yes.
information from Perry and a lot of connection with him. And it's really turned the dial up on what you were just sharing about this fear
Mm,
of death and what a concern it is. And if only
yes.
people knew that
Yes.
there is so much going on over there.
Yeah.
See, fear of death tends to, I mean, in and of itself, it just sounds like fear of death, but it railroads your life.
It does. Yes.
It takes us down pharmaceutical routes, it takes us into
Yes.
victim energy, it takes us into that thing we hear all the time, he died too young.
Yes.
That's bullshit. That's not even true. Nobody
Mm,
dies too
mm,
young or too old. We die exactly when we're meant to. So the more we understand that that we're living in a game in a matrix and it's just a blink of an eye, really, the real life is on the other side. The more we can get this
yeah.
across, the more people can relax and let go of tension, let go of pain, let go of angst, let go of
Yeah.
depression, let go
Yeah.
of all of this pressure and have a better life with more presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
That speaks to me so much. Having a better life with more presence, because that's what it's all about. And so many people, I wish I did have more time with them, which essentially means I wish I was more present with them. I wish I was enjoying them in that moment. I wish that I wasn't distracted, whilst being with my loved one in the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that because that's when you sit with people through those stages, that's there's all this unresolved grief because they didn't spend enough time.
Yeah, well look, I
So,
mean
and when
when
we
when
talk
I
about time, it's present, being present in the moment, and we're all guilty of that.
well we
You
are. I
know,
mean this human thing. I mean even with what
it's
I
being
know.
human. It's just it's a part of being human. But then there's that deeper, and it's so beautiful. And I think we both get to be. I feel like it's an honor and a privilege to be in those spaces with people where they are
Absolutely.
bearing their souls and
Absolutely.
you've just, you get taken, whether it's their inner child, their past, their present, their future, their hopes, their dream, we're just in this incredible, soulful space, which really is just being in the moment with that person. And well, what is it that you need? What do you, how do you want to feel? What are you trying to let go of? Where do you feel stuck? And how can I help?
And
It's so powerful to be in
how
those
can I help?
spaces.
The presence is what helps. It is that
Yes,
presence that helps, and really, truly, deeply listening. It can be that
yes,
simple.
exactly.
Holding such a high vibe container and being super present
Yes,
ultimately is the help.
I agree with you. And
Mm.
sometimes too, it's even, it's letting go of, it is letting go of even the modality that's in front of you, right?
Sometimes it
So,
is. Yeah, absolutely.
right, because sometimes it's not about, it isn't, it is just, yeah, listening and that person feeling heard and seen. Um,
That's a big deal.
So
Yeah,
it's a
don't
big,
underestimate,
big
never
deal. And
underestimate
I don't
that.
think we should
Yeah.
ever, ever underestimate that as much as we love our tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very powerful, powerful, powerful place to be. So I guess what gives you hope right now?
Mm. What gives me hope right now on this roller coaster journey that I'm on?
Yes.
Because it very much is. I had it was only 3 or 4 days ago that I had the majority of the day where I felt happy. And that
Mm,
hasn't been a feeling that's been so familiar for me for a while. So I get hope that I can feel happy. I've just come out of a weekend that was pretty heavy for me with grief, actually.
Yeah,
The weather
yeah.
stopped me doing some things. I was inside, my energy was low, which meant I couldn't distract myself with all the doing.
Yes,
So I
that's true.
had to
Yes.
be with my feelings. I had to practice what I preach. So I've just come out of a lot of emotion yesterday, actually. So your question's really pertinent. The sun gives me hope, and my
Mm,
mission gives me hope. And what I'm
mm,
drawn to, what Perry's wanting to communicate with people, that gives me hope as well.
mm.
I guess it's that mission that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
These intense experiences that I've gone through and am going through are not for no reason. So,
no.
I can share so much that's going to make it easier for people as well. So, uh,
Mm, yeah.
yeah, so that's my answer to that question for now.
No, that's
It
beautiful.
might
That's
change on the
really, really
daily.
beautiful. And that's human.
Oh, here's something that gives me hope. Somebody that a group of people might come and do some work on my property. That gives me hope.
Oh, I can understand that.
Yeah,
Um,
hope with the small things.
yeah, totally. I guess as well, what do you believe? I mean, I see friends of mine with their practices, and they're great. They're really good at what they do, but at the same time, they're also, wanting to learn more or, be more present. They're still learning. So I guess what do you see, and where do you feel practitioners also need more support?
Where do I feel practitioners need more support?
Mm.
Well, I would
Oh,
really like to see practitioners getting some uh, more of them getting supervision. I think in the hypnotherapy world they tend to do that,
yes.
but across the board, I'd like to see more supervision that incorporates the spiritual as well as the psychological.
Mm.
So, in fact, I'm going to say no one's ever asked me this question before, so I really love it. But I'm going to say that I would like to see some grounded um, solid spiritual wisdom coming into supervision.
Mm. That's
And
that's amazing.
yeah, because I think when we've got the psychological knowledge
Hmm.
and we've got that solid, and it's got to be incorporated. And I'm making it about supervision because I think there's a lot of other places I could go as well. But this ability to be able to reflect on their work. And maybe I don't mean classic supervision. The ability, maybe I'm going to call it mentoring instead. The
Yes.
mentoring slash supervision, the ability to unpack what's happening, how it affects you,
Hmm.
and what's coming up for you, which will move into your own inner work,
Mm.
coupled with what is your heart and intuition calling for you. And that might be everything's fine, or it might be, yes, you need to learn past life regression. Or actually, you
Yes.
don't need to be in private practice. You need to be running groups. Or
Yes.
it might change up what you're doing and it might make what you're doing more meaningful when you're going a little bit deeper and listening to your heart and your soul and your psychology more.
Yes. Well said. That's really
Yeah,
powerful and beautiful.
I would really like therapists to be able to, I think I said something to this effect a bit earlier. I would like all therapists in the healing world, like that's a big umbrella, but I'd like them to be
Mm.
able to um, have all the skills they need to go in whichever direction they want and trust that they know how to do that.
Mm.
Really stop being so modality based because it isn't
Yes.
it's not the hypnotherapy or the homeopathy or the acupuncture or the spiritual healing. Yes, it is that to a certain extent, but more than
Hmm.
anything, it's the vibrationary resonance that you've got with who's in front of you and what you're open to do.
Yes.
And then these are all vibrational healing modalities because they're all the good ones. That frequency can
Yes.
start to harmonize more when you're in sync in that way. So I think what I'm
Yes.
saying is I'd like to see more therapists open up to being able to hold space in a multidimensional way.
Oh, that's music to my ears. That's so beautiful. I so agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
took me a
think
while to work that one out. It was a good question.
that's a really great answer.
Excellent.
It's a really great answer. So I guess what has your work taught you about being human?
What has my work taught me about being human?
Mm.
That I haven't been as healed as I always think I am. Yeah, I guess that's one thing it's
Work
taught
in
me.
progress. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think par for the course it is in this field, or it certainly has been historically, is that we can run off with the ego in those early
Yes.
stages because our work's so damn good, right? It's like, whoa, look at
Yes.
what's happening. But then there comes a little bit of a halt with that where you've got to go a whole lot deeper. So I think my work has taught me to keep unpacking my own. I mean, look, I'm
Yes.
a bit of a junkie for self growth work anyway, but my work has definitely shown me that. Uh, because stuff comes up when you're with people. What else has my work shown me? Oh gosh, it's very much what I was just sharing with you, that we have
Yes.
got to be
Yes.
broad. We've got to be broad.
Yes.
It takes me back to when I was first doing spiritual healing work full time from in that first year. And so many beautiful things were happening, working with spirit coming through my body, all very magical. You can imagine magical and angels
Hmm.
and light and all beautiful things happening.
Yes.
And then there came a place where people were not, they were coming back to me, but they were not sort of healing as such. And I had to really consider that. And at the same time, as people say it's the universe, but your higher self presents you with things that you need to learn or what have you. And inner child work was starting to
Yes.
come onto my radar. And I realized that these people haven't dealt with their past pain,
Yes.
their trauma and their anger and what have you. And that scared me because I'm like, I don't, I remember somebody having a whole pile of anger come up, a past memory come
Mm.
up while I was doing spiritual healing work. And I was quick to sort of band-aid all of that. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's too
Yeah.
much for me. And that showed me so much about myself that I wasn't
Mm.
aware of at the time. I've got to do my trauma work. I've got to start
Yeah.
going to my places where I've been angry. So I mean, I'm repeating
Yeah.
myself from what I said before. It's
No,
taken
no, no,
me into
no.
my
It's
own work and
clarity.
help me realize that it's got to be multi-leveled. It can't just
Yes.
be this beautiful spiritual thing because we can't take away, and I'd say Reiki as well is the same thing, really. All this
Yes.
energy, we can't take away people's stuff. And
No.
people who tell me they can clear chakras, it's bullshit. They can't
Yeah.
because we can bring some good energy into the field and we can
Yes.
have people feeling good for hours, days, or longer, maybe. But we can't take away that discordant energy pattern that's sitting in their mental field or emotional field that is blocking some
No.
flow. We can't do that.
Yes.
And we're arrogant
No.
to think that we can. So,
Yes, I agree with you.
and I used to think I could do all of that. I was
Yeah.
on that train. So I guess it's shown me, yeah, it's coming back to what I've said a few times that we have to be able to work on all of these levels. And I guess I
Yes.
learnt that, a long time ago with this work, really. And now the work is teaching me um, to do it to more people rather than just one at a time.
Yeah, no,
Because
that's
it's so
powerful.
powerful and we can do some
Yeah.
profound transformational shifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's wonderful. What you said really speaks to me. I mean, doing energy healings myself for years and shamanic healings, um, people would come to you with all sorts of things and you'd help them. And it's like, so, you invite that vibrational energy in where they want to be. But again, if they weren't able to sustain that vibration, then it drops. And that's where it's like, again, I felt that I was actually doing a disservice to clients. It's like, because at the end of the day, it was like, well, I can't make your ex-husband come back to you, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't shift these things that you're wanting me to do. And we can welcome in the vibration that you're wanting to align yourself with, but you still have to do the work to sustain vibration.
Well, that's right. And what the picture that comes to me when you're talking about that is this high vibration energy that's coming in. And often we do, it's a lot up here when we're working with these higher chakras, when we're working with some practitioners. And these lower chakras are actually where all the work needs to happen. It's the solar
Yes,
plexus and the sacral chakra and the root chakra
100%.
where we need to do all the work, right? So
Exactly.
these high frequencies can come in and give us spiritual experiences, which is beautiful, and that's really important as well. But there's got to be some depth to it for it order in
Exactly.
order for it to be able to hold. And we can actually do all of that. We can
Yeah,
work
we
with all
can.
of that in one session. And
Yes.
this past life regression work incorporates all of that. Um, but sometimes that work that you were doing, it can be just a little spark that's where their intuition's kicking in, and those who are ready will start actioning some of those things away from you for those
Mm,
lower centers. But
totally.
it's not uncommon for people to just come back regularly, just to feel good for a short amount of time,
Totally.
which
It's
is why
almost
I wrote
like
the
it,
book, right? It's like get down
yeah,
and do this
get
root
down and do
work.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Do
yeah, I
the
get it.
work too. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Which I feel that's where, you know, I feel that's an important thing to acknowledge, because it is again coming back to empowering people. It's not about us having all the power and doing all the magic.
Well, it can be
It's
for a little
about,
while. When you're young, it
yeah.
can be.
It
But yeah,
is.
I
It's
mean,
literally
um,
about, okay, here's the tools and
well,
and I
I mean,
guess too, combining, in that way, I still love combining, do some energy work, but also helping them to shift the beliefs, and
definitely,
things
that's
like
right. You're
that. So
doing
that's
all of
where
it then.
combining the modalities are
Yes.
actually very powerful. Yes. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
let's
it's
speed
good
things
having
up a
that big
bit. You don't need
toolkit.
to have session after session doing all that because you can do
No,
so much at once, right? And ultimately,
totally.
Rebecca, all of us, light workers is the term that I like and I use, but whatever
Mm,
you want to call us, the change makers or whatever, we are on a mission to bring more love and peace to this
yes.
planet. I mean, it sounds corny, it's more love and light, whatever, but we are about raising the frequency from fear into love,
Yes.
right?
Totally.
That's
Exactly.
what our gig is. So,
Yeah, that's our gig. That's the mission.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally relate to that. Yeah, I remember that from a young girl. It's just, yeah, always, yeah, trying to bring light or reason into a situation, or
Yeah,
yeah,
well, we've
question the
incarnated.
fear, or it's
That's
it's
right.
it's it's something that I feel like I've been doing my whole life.
Of course
Um,
you've been doing it your whole
we
life because that's your mission, right? So,
that's the mission.
yeah, and it can come through in different ways, of course. You don't have to be a healer as such to do it, although a lot of
Oh
us end up doing that.
no, 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 no. I've got a lot of clients that aren't, they're very corporate,
Mm,
but they're visionaries. They're
mm,
they're they're the ones that problem solve. They're the ones that hold the vision. They're the ones that get things done. They're the ones that hold space for the vision. They're the ones that anchor it down. They're just they're beautiful. We often have those conversations. It's like
mm.
we're exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Like it's yeah, you don't. you do not have to read cards or channel energy or whatever, to be able to be a light worker, so to
Well,
speak,
that's right.
to
And you know, we've
be that
we've chosen to
agent of
come.
transformation.
That's right, exactly. And we've chosen to come at a particularly difficult time in history,
Oh,
right?
it's huge.
I mean,
Yes.
we all know that, and the more you know, the more freaky it is, really. But we've chosen to be here at this time
Mm,
because so much light is needed. So this
yes.
is where what we do and what we share is really, really important. And of course,
Yes.
we've got to be that because
Yes. You have to embody it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's no mean feat when we're humans, right?
No,
With the human
no.
condition being the way that it is. But that energy permeates out when you're holding that vibe and can affect a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I agree with you. Oh, it's been so lovely to speak to you today. I guess I'm going to ask everyone at the end a question. So what does, as a closing question, what does living heart, mind, and body aligned mean to you?
What does living heart, mind,
Mind and body aligned mean to you?
it means energy.
Hmm.
When I think about, I've got you see the rainbow that's popping up on my
Yes.
forehead? It just makes me look super enlightened, doesn't it? All right, when I think heart, mind, and body aligned, okay, so when the heart's involved, that's where our the ultimate intelligence that we've got is, right? So
Hmm.
if the heart is aligned with the mind, um, we've definitely got our throat chakra working well because this is the one that gets in the middle of these two.
Yes.
So if the heart can if the mind can listen to the heart and not dominate the heart and be in line with the body as well, then you're a powerhouse.
Hmm.
Seriously. Like getting those three things aligned means you're mastering this gig of being human.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's that's a great response. So if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way, for teaching or
Yeah, light
training to
school.
get your book? How
Yeah.
would people connect with you, Dawn?
Okay, lightschool.nz will get you in touch with me.
Okay.
And you can see everything that I'm doing there. Dawn Grace Kelly on Facebook. I have a public profile page and also Dawn Grace Kelly's spiritual teacher. So both those
Okay.
pages on Facebook. Um, I'm just getting my Instagram up again. So Dawn Grace Kelly on Instagram.
Okay. Fantastic.
My book is on Amazon, and through my website, you can buy it for New Zealand and Australia.
Okay, that's fantastic. And I'll also pop all the links as well, so people can reach out to you as
All
well.
right, and I
So,
also will take this opportunity to say I've got two more places on some past life regression
oh,
foundation
yes.
training in July.
Okay. In
Yeah,
July. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
great.
So late July, if anybody's interested, yeah, be quick and hop onto my site or just flick me an email through my site, and
Okay.
we can connect.
Okay. And do you regularly hold those trainings?
I semi-regularly hold them, so
Okay.
it'll be I think it's going to be the last one for this year.
Yeah. Okay,
But
great.
yeah, but you definitely yearly, if not
Yearly.
sometimes,
Yes.
sometimes
Okay.
twice, depending on demand.
Oh,
Yeah,
great. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I thank you for your time today. And this will be my first ever podcast guest. So thank you so
Yay!
much.
Oh, I'm the podcast virgin. I love it. I love it. It's been so good talking to you. Really cool to get some questions that I don't normally get. I really appreciate a few of your
Good.
questions
I'm
there. Thank you.
so
Yeah.
glad. No, my pleasure. And I'm absolutely looking forward to having you at the Heart Mind Body Conference, which
Yeah,
is
yippee,
on
yippee.
the 17th and 18th of October at the Crown Plaza, Sydney Airport. So, and again, I will also post all of those links
I'm super
as
excited
well.
about it. You've got such a great team of
A
people.
lot
I,
of
I
good
recently met
speakers.
some of those speakers at an Auckland conference, and they are high vibe. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
this is going to be good.
I'm thinking of Fabian. I'm thinking of Zoilita,
Mm.
Justine. Yeah, really high vibe people.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I did meet them in Melbourne and
Ah,
just
yep.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to spending time with them and hearing them speak again because they just are really great speakers and as well as just great people.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it all. Thank you, beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me and having me first. I think that's great. I love that.
Yeah, no, thank you.